go ahead and download it. I already have it downloaded. It is quite a large file, so it may take a while. Alright, so once you have that downloaded, just go ahead and open it up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run that. Okay, so we're going to go through the installer. Make sure you have the SDK and the virtual device selected. Click Next. Alright, now these two locations are important. This is where Android Studio is going to be installed. This is in your program files folder. And then this is the location of the SDK, and it's good to take note of this directory. Okay, by default, at this point, it's going to be in your user folder, and then app data, local, Android, and then SDK. Okay, that's the location of it. So we're going to click Next, Install, and we'll let that get set up. Alright guys, so that actually took quite a while, even on a pretty hefty machine. So now that that's completed, we'll click Next, and let's click Finish. We'll keep the Start Android Studio checked. Alright, so you'll probably see a screen like this. We're going to go ahead and click Next, and it's going to ask us the type of setup we want. We're going to choose Standard. Click Next and Finish. Okay, so now it's going to go ahead and download all the components. Alright guys, so that actually took a while too. I'm pausing the video, so don't be alarmed if yours is taking a hell of a lot longer than mine is. Alright, so let's go ahead and click Finish. And you should see a screen like this. So you can choose to start a new Android Studio project, but we're not going to do that. We're not even going to use Android Studio. That's more for Java development when you're building native apps. But what we want to do is go into the SDK Manager. Alright, you can go to it by going to this Configure and then SDK Manager. And of course you can also get to it through Android Studio if you want. So let's open that up, and you should see something like this. Now, with React Native, let me just open up their documentation real quick. Okay, let's see. So with React Native, we go to Get Started. It's basically, it tells us how to do what we're doing in the Android development environment. But notice that we need to install Android 6, the SDK version 6.0, which is also known as Marshmallow. Alright, if you don't plan on using React Native, then you don't have to do this. You can just stick with the latest version. At this point, it's 7.1.1. But we're going to be working with React Native, so I want to make sure that I check off Android 6.0 as well. Okay, and you can have multiple versions of the SDK. Okay, next thing I want to do is go to SDK Tools, and you want to make sure that you have, let's see, a couple things. This right here, Intel Emulator Accelerator, or HAXM, HAXM installer. You want to make sure that that's checked off, okay, if you want to use the virtual device. We want the platform tools. Now, the SDK tools for the latest version is 25.2.4, and yours will probably be different depending on when you're watching this. But we also want to make sure we install the build tools for Marshmallow for Android 6. Alright, so we're going to do that after. Okay, we're going to launch the standalone SDK Manager after, because that gives us some extra options. But for now, I think that we're all set to go ahead and install what we checked off. Let me just double check. Yeah, so that should be good. So let's go ahead and click Apply. Click OK. We're going to accept the agreement and click Next. Alright, and the SDK version 6 is actually revision 23. But like I said, if you don't plan on using React Native, then don't worry about installing the version 6 of the SDK. Just go with the latest. Okay, so that's all set. Let's click Finish. And now I'm going to open up the standalone SDK Manager. So we'll click that. And then it should open a window like this. And notice that we have other options now. So we want to If you installed version 6, you want to install the build tools for that. Now remember I said that's revision 23, so we want to make sure we want these 23.0.1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to check those off. Okay, and then we're going to go down and we need to also install a system image for the virtual device. Now for the latest version, 7.1.1, you can see that those are checked off. But for 6.0, we're going to go down and we just want to check the Intel 86 Atom image. Okay, if you have 64-bit, make sure you choose the 64-bit version. Alright, and then that's all we need. We don't need that other stuff. And let's see. I think that should be good. Okay, so we get the build tools, we have the system image, and I think we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and click install and accept this. Install. The thing we want to look at is the path variables. Alright, so we're going to open up the control panel. One second, I just need to do this off on a different monitor. Alright, so we want to go to System and Security, and then we want to go to System, Advanced System Settings, and you should get this box, and you want to just open up this Environment Variables button. Alright, now we want to edit the path variable for under User Variables, and we're going to click Edit. And notice that it's already here. Okay, now I notice sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have to add it. Alright, so what you want to do, if you don't see these two things right here, you need to add them yourself. Alright, so it should be in your user folder and then app data, local Android SDK platform tools, and then also in the same SDK folder just tools. If you don't have these, go ahead and click new and then just add that in there, add that path, both of those, platform tools and tools. Alright, and then just save it. You also want to add right here, if you don't have it, the system variables. I'm not sure if these are here because I've already had them before or if it's just automatically added. So just to make sure, if you don't see these, add them yourself. Alright, so we have the variable Android underscore home, which is going to get set to the location of the SDK. Alright, if you don't have it, click new and then just put, you know, Android home underscore home here and then the path here. Alright, and then just to be safe, you also want to add this Android SDK home and then put that same path. Okay, if you don't have the Java home, you also want to add that, and that's the location of your wherever your Java installation is. Alright, so if we look in my program files folder, and I think I have a couple versions of Java, but let's see, program files and Java. Okay, yeah, see, notice I have a bunch of folders here, but I'm using the JDK one. Alright, so let's close all these out, and I'm going to open up just a standard Windows command line, and let's see what happens if we say Android. Okay, so that actually opens up the SDK manager. Alright, now we want to open the AVD manager, which is the Android Virtual Device Manager, because we want to create an emulator or a virtual device. So we should be able to say Android AVD, and that opens up this window here. Now you can also get to this window through Android Studio. Just for if for some reason the Android command isn't working for you, you can go to Android Studio and you can open it from there. So we want to create a virtual device. Alright, so we can give it a name. We'll just say Android device, and we can choose an actual device. I'm going to use the latest, which is the Nexus 6. And notice that that goes away, right? And we should be all set. So let's click OK, and that should go ahead and create the device for us. We'll click OK again, and there we go. So now what I'm going to do is just highlight it, click Start. I'm going to choose to scale the display to the real size, and hopefully this works.